everybody. Welcome back. Okay, so I got a question. Someone asking me, they aren't ready to trash their relationship, and they want to know if there are some absolute. Well, first of all, they want to know if there's anything they can try, if there's any little tricks of the trade that they can try, just to see if there's any chance that they could turn things around. And then they also want to know if while they're doing that, if there's any absolute just stop signs, just things that are just like, do not go any further, trash the relationship, it is time. They're, just if you see these things, get out. Yeah, there is, I have an answer for you. And the answer is on the trying to see if there's anything that might work with changing behaviors of a narcissistic person. Depending on how severe the case, if it's a very, very mild case, like a person that's almost within the range of healthy narcissism, there is a technique called catching them doing good. This is out of Rethinking Narcissism, and he developed this technique in dealing with his mother, where it wasn't a relationship that he wanted to trash. He wanted to be in a relationship with his mother. She wasn't super toxic and stuff. She was just very, very self-absorbed. So he developed this technique called catching her doing good. And what it was that when she would do things that were especially narcissistic, he wouldn't react. He would give her no reaction at all. But he would give her very, very positive reactions when she did good things. So when she did the right thing, he would just go crazy. So he would give her opportunities to do what you're looking for in a person like this to know if it's hopeless or not, is you're looking for things like flexibility, like the ability to be emotionally flexible, the ability to be emotionally intimate. If they can get beyond shallow emotions, accepting yours and revealing theirs, then there's potentially some hope there. Because our motivation for change comes from pain. So if someone is not feeling any pain, they're not having any remorse, they have no sense of wrongdoing, they're not going to be very motivated to change. And narcissists are, by nature, they're not responsive to punishment. They're not responsive to negative feedback, but they're very responsive to positive feedback. So the reason for that, I think, is because it's all supply. You know what I mean? Like, if you give them lots of negative feedback, you get really angry at them, they're still getting narcissistic supply from that. And so that's why they say the best thing to turn off a behavior in a narcissist is to give them no reaction, not to get mad at them, just to give them no reaction. If you want to turn a behavior into something that happens more often, then you give them lots and lots of positive reactions for doing the right thing. So this is catching them doing good. So when they do something right, you just give them all kinds of praise and attention for it. So, and if this sounds like you're conditioning a dog or a little kid, well, it is very much like that. It really is. So this is like, they say something to you about, I really regret the way that I talked to our son the other night. They say something like that. So this is a time when they're making themselves vulnerable. They're not talking about feeling bad, so they can blame someone else, like that person did this and made me feel bad. No, not like that. This is just a chance for them to sort of show that they're vulnerable. And if they're showing any sort of remorse, even better yet, then you would go like, gosh, that's so great that you noticed that. And thank you so much for sharing it with me. I feel really honored by the fact that you would share that with me. I feel really close to you. And gosh, that's really great. Something like that. And go on and on. If it feels like you're gushing, that's okay. Narcissists do not care if you're gushing. They don't care that much about sincerity. They are perfectly fine with you gushing and giving them lots of compliments that might sound phony to someone else. It doesn't sound phony to them. It sounds reasonable to them because they think they're thinking these things anyways. They're thinking how great they are. So okay, and so that's basically what you're looking for. There isn't much you can do. Unfortunately, that's about it. That's about all there is to do, and having really firm boundaries yourself about what you will and will not tolerate, and not crossing them, putting lines in the sand and not crossing them. Then, of course, there are some stop signs, and these are things where you're not going to see those things where I was talking about catching him doing good. That's a person with very mild narcissism. If you see these traits, these stop signs that I'm going to mention next, this is not a person that's got mild narcissism. This person's heading down the lane towards sociopathy. Okay, and that is going to be if you're seeing someone who is physically abusive, deceptive, lying, deceptive, in denial, just absolutely doesn't see what you're talking about, doesn't just no acknowledgement at all for what you're talking about them doing. Yeah, so physical abuse, denial, remorselessness, lies and deceit. So yeah, remorselessness too is another really big one. Just absolutely lack of conscience about anything that they're doing. They don't care if they're hurting you. Again, the motivation for change comes from pain. If they're not feeling any remorse, they're not going to be motivated to change. And if you are with someone who has any of these qualities, the chances of them getting better are just about zero. And the chances of you getting much, much worse are about 100%. So that's the time that really is a stop sign. That is time to get out of the relationship because it is harmful to you. And not only that, it is perpetuating a terrible message that you're sending to your children. If you have children that are watching this, you have a responsibility to protect yourself if you have children, especially, and protect them. So, yeah, if you are seeing any of those stop signs, again, they are physical abuse, denial, remorselessness, lies, and deceit. If you're seeing any of those, get out. Get out and let your children see that you cared enough about yourself and about them to do that. And embracing reality is always the best thing to do. When you are dealing with these kinds of people, you need to make sure that you are not minimizing their behavior, not justifying their behavior, and you are being really critical of what you are accepting because embracing reality is just, it doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, but I promise you this, reality is your best friend. Reality is the codependent's best friend. It really is. It's going to keep you safe, and it's going to help lead you out of this fog that you might find yourself in if you're in relationships with malignant narcissists or relationships of inevitable harm.